Hey everybody, Raul here for Bass Musician Magazine, and today we have the extraordinary good fortune of getting caught up with our friend Joshua Crumbly. Yay!
How's it going, Raul?
We're going. For those of you that were paying attention, Joshua and I spoke July 2020, and there was all kinds of interesting things. We were early on in the pandemic. And during this time frame, it's not that long, about a year and a half, Josh has been super busy, so he's got a lot of catching up stuff to tell us about. What have you been up to, Joshua?
Yeah, I released my second album called Forever
Nice.
about maybe a little bit over a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
Then doing a lot of like writing and producing and back to touring a lot. So yeah, I just feel like I've been the most busy that I've ever been in my career, actually. Maybe it's because like we've come out of a time from not doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
So like maybe one and two things like just feels like a mountain to climb. But it's been all great things that I'm really excited about.
Interesting. So tell us about this, Forever. Tell us about this album.
Yeah, so it initially started out as a solo bass project. A really good friend of mine named Shazad Ismaili. I actually didn't even have his number at the time. We had just met maybe a couple years ago or so. And something told me to answer the call. And I'll never forget the day because I had just finished Rise. And I was feeling like sort of, very thankful to have done my first album and gotten it finished. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so I answered the call. And then he's like, Josh, this is Shazad. You need to record a solo bass album. And I'm like, okay. And so our friendship has grown. So he offered me some studio time. He has a beautiful studio in Brooklyn called Figure 8 Studios. And so I started it there and then, released the first album and I was touring a lot. And then the pandemic happened, which allotted so much amount of time to revisit that concept that he had called me about. Mm-hmm. So I was able to devote time to Forever. And then there was so much going on in the world and my world, that conceptually so many things came into play to kind of create this maybe like a sort of a storyline for the record as well,
Well, I've heard it described as a letter to tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so when I listen to it, kind of genre-wise, where are you situating? Is it's got like a little new agey kind of stuff, but it's got a little bit of kind of a softer jazz kind of feel? The genres are a little blurred there. Where are you placing it?
You know what? Yeah, they were saying that about my first album, about it being genre blurring, but I feel like it's even more so with the second album. Mm-hmm. I as we probably spoke about, I come from playing classical piano to rock and gospel and then jazz, like all very early on. It's all really just music to me. I would say on this record, there's definitely like moments of indie rock and like you said, ambient. But I guess, yeah, it's a collection of moods that I would love to be a sonic backdrop for any moment within life. And hopefully there's some kind of spark that might hit the listener that makes you feel better about what's to come. Mm-hmm. So that's why I would say that it's a letter to tomorrow. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of genres going on. But the hope is that it's a cohesive sound top to bottom.
There you go. Well, and it is because of the times that have gone by during this period when you were putting this together, a lot of artists have kind of found, I think they've found their voice to express more on the frustration, on the maybe angry, been seeing a lot more kind of the punk rock kind of movement and making statements that I know people identify, but other than venting, it may not help them necessarily feel any better. Just kind of going, well, hey, I'm mad too, so we're all going to be mad here. But it's certainly a much more, I'm going to say, constructive approach to take something that is more, we're building, we're moving ahead and making people feel better. And I saw it with your videos is kind of also got some kind of very interesting artistic, creative bits, whether it's animated little robots or they've made you wear a spacesuit. I mean, kind of some extremes there.
Yeah, man, I was just having the vision on that spacesuit video that you're referring to called The Sea. I just saw visually myself in a spacesuit.
Hmm.
So I tracked one down, and it was a trip to do that. It was so hot.
I'm sure.
But yeah, I collaborated with Nikki and Juliana Giraffe from Giraffe Studios, and we just talked a lot about what we had been reflecting on during the pandemic and my vision for that video. And they also did Kolkata, which I'm a cowboy in that one. But yeah, it was great to kind of bring our visions together, and they just took maybe some ideas that I had to the next level. Mm-hmm. And I think it just like, it tells maybe what the story of the song might have began about. But what I like about the videos is like, I think it opens up actually like infinite amount of space for like whoever's watching it to like create their own relationship or meaning to it, you know?
Sure. It's much more wide open. And how do you track down a spacesuit?
I literally Googled it, spacesuit rentals. And found one in outside of LA.
There you go. Well, now we know, definitely, and I can understand why it would be definitely hot. And with this project, have you made any changes to your gear? I remember you were playing Fender pretty much across the board the last time we talked.
So there's actually a lot of P-bass, Fender P-bass on the record. Mm-hmm. Actually, at times that I don't think people would think that it's like sort of a classic bass on that track here and there. But I also went back to what I consider to be my first real bass, which is an MTD Kingston bass.
Okay.
And that's actually on the title track, Forever.
Nice.
Yeah, and then getting deep into universal audio modulators and things of that nature.
And so not actual pedals, but I call it the on-screen pedal kind of setup.
Yeah, for the record, mostly that. Some pedals, actual physical pedals here and there. But what I am so happy about is UA came out with the actual physical pedals now. So they have the modulator, the verb, and delay. So hopefully they endorse me at some point.
Well, and it would translate to be able to take your sound on tour.
Yeah, it was like right on time. Like right before the record came out, they announced these pedals. I'm like, oh, this is amazing.
Gotcha.
Well, so I've been able to recreate some of the sounds live.
Very nice. And as we're talking a little bit about touring in the future, what are your plans?
Yeah, so I've done a couple of shows with this project, and I just want to continue booking the shows. And it's been interesting just during the course of having 2 or 3 shows now, how the music has been evolved and me wrapping my head around presenting it live. So I'm definitely going to devote a lot of time and effort to sharing the Forever experience to people, and want to just keep building, you know, as a solo artist.
Well, and because of the pandemic, you might have not been able to take as much of Rise out on the road as well. So are you going to blend Rise and Forever into your...
Yeah, that's the plan for sure. Yeah, is to blend both, because I didn't do a single show for Rise.
Yeah.
So the last show that I did for Forever, I worked in a couple of songs from Rise as well. And they actually, I think they really complemented each other in a live format.
Nice. And if people want to know where you're going to be, what you're up to, what's the best place to look?
I would say Instagram.com/Joshua Crumbly.
Okay. Because I know you have a website as well, but I know that a lot of people they stay more up to date on Instagram or social media than they do on websites.
That's been the case, but I'm going to do better on the website too.
Well, very cool. Well, Joshua, it's been so great getting caught up, and it's so great hearing your music. Keep it up. We need positive vibes during these times as we kind of continue to see a little light at the end of the tunnel. But, you know, we need more positive stuff. There's no question about that. So, folks, you've seen him here, our artist update with Joshua Crumbly.
Thank you so much, Raul.
you.